Hi, in this tutorial on creating VideoScribe that allows shapes to be drawn, then coloured in prior to drawing the second shape, then colouring in, etc, etc. The best way to show you is an example. Here is an object I wish to create in VideoScribe but in a staged manner. This is a drawing I wish to recreate, but the problem is VideoScribe will just draw all the individual elements in total, then colour them in all at the end. I wanted to draw part of the image, then colour it in, then draw the next part and colour it in, and so on. So let's have a look. So this is a VideoScribe I've created using the method I'm talking about, and I'll just run it and hope if it pauses I'll have to apologise. My computer's rather slow these days. Okay, the first it loads and draws the light yellow part of the crest, draws some lines, then wipes the colour in a light yellow. Next it draws some more lines and colours them in a darker yellow, then more lines and paints it blue. Next more lines and fills them white. And here's some more lines with various coloured fills. And finally it draws a more definitive black outline. So how did I recreate this? I've seen it suggested that you create and import various SG files, import and resize them to match the one below. I find that VideoScribe's resizing very crude, and I couldn't get decent results using this method. The method I use entails what I call sizing pixels. It's a method I've used for many years for importing vector image parts into 3D programs. It works equally well in VideoScribe. Right, firstly some pointers on creating a vector drawing for use as an SVG file for VideoScribe. In whatever vector program you prefer, I use Zara Designer. Use layers to separate certain parts of the image. I usually use 3 layers minimum. 1. A layer named Shapes that contains all the shapes with fills but no strokes, lines. This is at the bottom. So what I'll do is just switch these off. You can see that here they all contain shapes. It looks as if there are some black lines, but they're, in fact, if you look down here, they're actually shapes. They're not lines at all. Right, so I'll just zoom to the previous zoom. Right, the next layer, I'll switch these back on visible again. There's a layer named Lines that hold all the shapes I wish VideoScribe to draw. This layer contains only shapes with strokes, i.e. lines, but no fill. This is in the middle. So I'll switch these two down here, and you can see here that this one contains lines. And down here this says one shape, and the black outline right down here shows that it's got a line, and the checkered inside shows that it's got no fill. And finally the top layer, I'll just put these back on. The top layer I always name wipe. That contains the lines that draw over the VideoScribe, revealing the colour fill rather than just having it suddenly appear. This layer is at the top. And again, I'll switch these off, and if I switch it down to wire view, you can see that you've got this line here. I'll switch it back up. I'll select it, switch it back up, and you can see that this line has got 64 pixels in width, but it's got a transparency of 100%. If I bring it down, you can see that the line is still there, and if I switch these back on, just so this is now say at 71%, you can see that when that line draws, it just draws in over the part of the drawing that I want to draw on, not over the whole screen. But this has to be set to do the white bit at 100%, otherwise it doesn't work in VideoScribes. So that's that layer there as well. So they're all switched back on again, and this is the way I normally work. Going on to that, and again, it's just the way I work. You don't have to do, but I do prefer to use named colours. So I can use that wipe line as that green line. You can actually see it because it's 100% transparent. A lines, which are the lines that will draw. Sizes I'll come to in a minute. And then various name colours, black, dark blue. So if I select that dark blue and just move them across, you can see that that moves. If I select the light blue, moves that across. And named colours make it very easy to start using. To start organising the way things should be properly set up, really, to use in VideoScribe if you're serious. I'll just undo these, put these back where they were, and I'll pause it and come back in a minute. So I've explained very briefly how I set up my vector images. I do this meticulously to assist me in creating the individual SGV files to help me build up the drawings in VideoScribe. This vector file I name constructor and is used to create all the individual SGV files. This is your template file. Now the important bit. In your vector program of choice, you need to set up the sizing pixels. This ensures that each and every SVG file is the same size as the previous one. This will ensure that when you import into VideoScribe, it will be exactly the same size as the previous one and all subsequent imports. In your template constructor file, create a circle, ensuring it is to the left and above all other page elements, and this is important, including the white lines, remembering that they also have a width. Give it a distinctive name colour. Whilst not important, I find this very helpful because you can always change that name colour to match the background colour. Set its size to 1 pixel by 1 pixel. Duplicate it and set it to the far right and below all other page objects. And I'll try and explain that. Can't really see here, but it's rather difficult to see. I there is a 1 pixel by 1 pixel shape. In fact, it's an ellipse, right? If I set that to 20 and it's locked on, you can see that there. I'll undo that. That's at the top left above everything else, and I'll bring this down. You can see that the white line's down here, so that's above and to the left of everything. Similarly, if I come down here, again I can't actually see it, there it is. I'll set that to 10 pixels by 10 pixels, bring that back up from wireframe to full view. There's that sizing pixel on the bottom right hand side, and I'll undo that again so it goes back to 1 pixel by 1 pixel, and I'm at 75% zoom there, so you can see all. You can't actually see those, but they are very handy for setting that size. So you've now set that up in your constructor template, and you should work off that from now on to make the individual SVG files that you want. And I'm going to pause the video here. Okay, I'm back again, and here we are. We've got this drawing that we've set up, and I called it constructor because it's use it to construct all the other colours, and it has these 3 layers and it has several named colours. The first thing I'm going to do is I'll just save that, so we've got a copy of that, and this is important. I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to call this, I'm going to be working on the thin yellow, so I'll call this, shall we call it Import 1, which is the first one we're going to import into VideoScribe. Zar is just a Zara Designer file extension. If you're using Illustrator or Inkscape, you should be able to do the similar thing. And here I'm working now in Import Zar, and the first thing, we've still got all these layers that are there. I'll just slide that off a minute. We've got all these named colours. Now I just want the bright yellow. I can select the all the other colours I no longer want in my image. I need the sizes. They're important because they're the ones that the pixel sizes that I was talking about, and the A-lines, and I can just hit the delete button and they delete those, and that just leaves me with the with this yellow section of the vector file. If I I'm going to click on the just select the yellow light colour, and as you see, it's down here, its fill colour is yellow and there is no stroke. And I'm going to go Control C to copy that shape. I'm going to move into the lines layer, and I'm going to go Control Shift V to paste that in place. I'll switch the visibility of the other layer off. I don't want a fill this time for this, because this is the one that's going to draw the line. So I'll set the fill colour to none, and I'll set the line to, this is the colour that I call A lines, which is the one that draws the lines, and I'll set these to one pixel. Now if I size down there, this is the white line, and as you can see, I'll white down quite clearly. There's it going on and off a lot more than it needs to be, So what I can do is reduce it down a bit, not that way. I need the white line. I select the white line, I can move that down considerably, and I don't need to have it right down the bottom there. Obviously if I was doing it, I could do it a lot. We don't need to have this one so wide as this, so I can reduce that white line down. I can move that up a bit. Probably needs to readjust some of these outer angles, which I can quite easily pull around just to cover the crown. And if we go to remove the transparency, I'm on wireframe, am I? Yeah, let's go up here, there. If you set the transparency down a bit, you can see that the line is now covering just the bits. I mean, I'm not worried about these odd little bits around the side, but it's covering the main bits. So we'll set that transparency back to 100. We've now got the file that we want for the light yellow, and all I have to do then is go File, Export, select the export as an SVG file, so I can save that. I'll save that as we've already saved that file, import, save, and I'll say File, Export, and I'll export that one as import 1.svg. So that's the first one we've done. So we just wait for that now, and I'll pause this for a second. Okay, time marches on. I really got to try and get ahead with this. So I'm happy with that. I'll save that file, import one, and I'll shut it down. I'll then go to File, Open Recent, and I'll open the constructor file again. And I'll go immediately File, Save As, because I don't want to be working on the constructor file, and I'll call this Import 2. And this time what I want to import are the garlands around the side. Before I imported this yellow section here, which is quite narrow but quite high, whereas you can see that the garlands are quite wide but not so high. Okay, so once more, we're in import to ZAR. I scroll down, let me just unpin that a minute. I don't want light yellows, I don't want dark yellows. I want to keep all the greens, and that's what I'm going to keep that branch brown is this middle bit here, which I want to keep. I don't want the lights, and I can move those off. I've got to keep the A sizes, and I've got to keep, delete any lines. So I can just hit delete now, and those colours have gone. There's something I missed because, oh, it's the A lines, I can delete them. Right, so now I've just got the brown branch and the rest of the green sector here. So when I open up my layers gallery again, down here, and open up the just drop that. I want to select that, select that, select that, and select that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Control copy. layers gallery, go into lines and switch this visibility down, Control Shift V, Control Shift V to paste that in. I want no colour, no fill for that, replace all, and I want to give it the line colour like that, and I want to set the the width to 1 pixel. Then when we now look at the pin this open now, at the let's leave that there, go down to wireframe and look at the white section. Obviously we don't need all this bit of the white here, probably just as wide there, so all I'm going to do is click on the shape editor tool and delete a lot of this section along here which I don't need. Again, I'll set that to 100%, so you can see that's covering it. Move it down a bit, you can see that it's covering all the sections that I want, and that will do fine. So I can now save that, import to Zara. I can then export that, and I'll export that as import to SVG. Export. OK. Pausing. OK, hopefully we're getting towards the end of this now. So what I'm going to do is create a new VideoScribe. I'm going to go to import some figures. I'll just refresh this crest by hitting the crest and the two. OK, so here I am back in VideoScribe. I'm going to create a new document, so I'm going to import it. I'm just going to hit crest to refresh what's inside here, and the first thing I want to import is import SVG, and I'm going to use this image. So this is a tall, narrow figure, and first thing I do is going to set the camera. I'm not going to zoom in or anything else. I believe by default I'm zoomed in at 100%. VideoScribe definitely needs a button just to click on 100% and stop us having to click backwards and forwards on these, because once you get out of 100% you seem to be very difficult sometimes to get back to it. So if I just play that scribe, it draws the lines and then fills in with the shape. Ordered the rather narrow, high, light yellow part of the crest, and now we want to import the next one. So I'll go into that, I'll hit crest just to refresh it. I find it's best when you do that to select that, I'm going to use that image, and there you can see it imports beautifully at exactly the right size. The first thing I have to do is set camera, and now when I run those, that shape is created. Then the next shape with the greens is created with a different white, narrow, thin white, thicker, high white. So you can quite easily do that. It's a matter of when you're making your vector images, when you're making a vector program, you've got to know where your destination is. You've got to know what you want to do with the file. Hello, back again. Sorry, I'll have to do a lot of editing. Keep making mistakes here. Right, I'm going to import the second image without the resizing pixels. I'm going to hit on Crest just to refresh it, and it's called import to. I wish VideoScribe would have longer file names. It does come up here, but I'm importing this with no sizing pixels, and you can immediately see what happens. The two images are nowhere near as size they should be, and then I have to start guessing by I don't know what I start guessing by, how to try to set the two up together to size up. That's probably about it, but it's not ideal, and when you're working on something quite as intricate as a crest, it's important that everything does line up, and this is why I recommend using sizing pixels. Anyway, I hope this helped. All the best. Cheers. This is Egg. Goodbye.